Yaskawa.
Welcome to another e-learning module brought to you by Yaskawa's Technical Training Services Department. Hello, my name is Chris Amick, and I am an engineer at Yaskawa America Incorporated. I will be your instructor today as we go through this e-learning module covering DrivesWorksEZ for the A1000 and V1000 industrial drives. DrivesWorksEZ is a software tool that allows the user to program the drive by connecting function blocks. Why set parameters in the same old way? With DrivesWorksEZ, you can just drag and drop function blocks onto the programming canvas and connect them with simple snap-to wiring. Create programs while connected to the drive, or create offline and upload it later. The built-in monitoring function allows you to see input and output values of each function block in real time. The programming concept is simple. Start with an input, such as a drive parameter or a digital or analog input. Then modify it using an operator. Logic functions, mathematical functions, and limiting functions are some of the operation blocks available. Finally, send the result to an output. Among others, you can choose to close a digital output, send it to a Modbus register, or activate a custom alarm. There are two different versions of DrivesWorksEZ available, Standard and Pro. Each version varies slightly depending on whether the user is creating a program for a V1000 or an A1000. Pay particular attention to the number of connections, as it governs the amount of complexity you can include in your program. Each function block you use will require anywhere from 1 to 4 connections. However, there is one available for the A1000 that requires 7. 20 connections will satisfy most simple applications. If you need more, you'll have to come in for DrivesWorksEZ Pro training. You may be asking yourself, how do I access the vast programming world offered by DrivesWorksEZ? The answer is, you have to attend factory training. DrivesWorksEZ exists in all A1000 and V1000 drives. Attending factory training gives you the key to unlock its programming capabilities. When you come to either the A1000 or V1000 application programming class, you will receive the key to unlock the standard version. If you want the Pro version, come into our dedicated DrivesWorksEZ Pro training class. Click the class number for more information, or click Current Training Schedule. DrivesWorksEZ allows you to do so much more than a standard drive. Simply limit operating area with overtravel switches, manipulate inputs with timers, flip-flops, logic gates, and mathematical operations to achieve the desired results. In some instances, relays and/or PLCs can be eliminated from the control scheme, making setup easier. You can even create your own alarm and fault. The possibilities are endless. DrivesWorksEZ allows the user to implement inputs and outputs in new and interesting ways. The A1000 even incorporates 2 virtual digital inputs. This makes it possible to activate many of the functions available for the digital inputs using your own criteria without a physical terminal or wiring. If you require additional I/O, digital input, digital output, analog input, and analog output option cards can add more flexibility to your application. In an effort to protect the user's programming, the file cannot be uploaded from the drive itself. Also, the program file cannot be opened unless the user has installed DrivesWorksEZ using the same ID and password used to create the program. DrivesWorksEZ makes new applications possible, but certain rules must be followed. One of the rules you must follow pertains to function block usage. Certain function blocks can only be used once per program. Frequency command, PI, and digital outputs are some examples. DrivesWorksEZ cannot do true motion control. For example, if you have an application requiring precise position control, you will most likely have to upgrade to a servo. You may have noticed a few slides earlier that the number of function blocks available differs from the A1000 to the V1000. Due to additional memory inside the A1000, it can use the same blocks as the V1000 plus more. A few examples are torque command, OR3, and one of the timer functions. This makes it possible to convert a V1000 DrivesWorksEZ program to an A1000 program, but makes the inverse impossible. Once you have downloaded the DrivesWorksEZ program to the drive, you should not initialize the drive. Doing so will cause the DrivesWorksEZ program to behave in unexpected ways. No matter how many connectors a block might have, there are only two types, logic and numeric. Logic blocks have only two states, true or false, on or off, 1 or 0. Numeric values are in terms of percentage, with the range dependent on the individual block properties. The input and output connectors even look different. This is a visual indicator. Logic connectors can only be connected to logic connectors, and numeric only to numeric. So no matter how hard you try, DrivesWorksEZ will not let you program true as your frequency reference. This is the graphical user interface of DrivesWorksEZ. Shown here is the program page, or the canvas. This is where you drop your function blocks and connect them together. You will also be able to monitor from the program page. Below the program page is the block toolbar. All of the available function blocks are arranged into tabs according to their function. Drive I/O, digital function, and numeric function are some of the categories of blocks. The Project Navigator section is where the user can add a new page or select different pages within the project. The Properties window shows the information associated with the selected function block on the program page. At the very bottom, you will see the status bar. The user can immediately tell if the PC is online or offline, whether DrivesWorksEZ is monitoring or not, and the percentage of available connections used. So the number of connections used will account for a different percentage depending on which version of DrivesWorksEZ is installed. Now I will create a sample program. First, I need to create a new project. I will name it choose my drive, and enter any other pertinent information. Next, I need to create a new page and name it. Now that I have set my canvas, I can drag and drop function blocks onto it. In this sample application, I only want my A1000 drive to run forward when all three of the following are true. I have a run switch closed, a safety switch closed, and a dampers open switch closed. I will physically connect these three switches to digital input terminals S1, S2, S3, and SN of my A1000 drive. I will represent them in my DrivesWorksEZ program with DI1, DI2, and DI3. I need them all to be closed to make the drive run forward, although I do not care about the order in which they close. I will use the AND3 block. This block accepts three logic signals in and outputs a logic signal of true when all three inputs are true. Then I will add the forward command block to make this drive run forward when the correct conditions are met. Lastly, I will label the blocks, so the program is easier to understand. Now for the speed reference. I will put these blocks on a separate page so that the speed reference section of the program is easily identifiable. In my sample application, I want to enter my main reference into the keypad, and I want to make small adjustments to it by hand with the -10 to +10 volt potentiometer. I will use a DrivesWorksEZ parameter for my main reference and connect the -10 to +10 volt pot to V+, A1, and -V of my A1000 drive. I will represent them with Q101, and AI1 in my program. In order to decrease the effect of the pot, I will scale the signal. Setting the scaling to 1 to 10 will only allow the pot setting to add or subtract up to 10% of the max frequency, whether it is turned all the way up or all the way down. So I'll go to the Properties window and enter 10 into the divisor. I will add the main reference and trim values together to create my speed reference. Before downloading the program, the user must determine the method of connection. There are several different ways to connect your PC to your A1000 or V1000 drive. One way is to connect from the keypad port on the drive to the serial port on your PC. I know what you're thinking. What if my PC doesn't have one of those fancy new space-age serial ports? Well, you can always get a serial to USB converter. There are many available on the market, but we recommend using either the Dynex DX-UB-D9, available at Best Buy stores, or the Radio Shack 26-183, available at Radio Shack stores. Keep in mind, this way of connecting is still considered serial, not USB. You can also connect over an Ethernet network. That is, if you have an Ethernet option card installed. You must not, under any circumstances, connect a Cat5 cable from the keypad port to the Ethernet port of your PC. I repeat, never connect a Cat5 cable from the keypad port to the Ethernet port of your PC. The keypad port has a different pinout and will cause the magic smoke to be released from your PC's Ethernet board. The A1000 features a USB port below the keypad. You can connect directly to your PC's USB port without removing the keypad. You will have to install a driver in order to use the USB feature of the A1000. Please visit Yaskawa.com and type USB into the search field. Then scroll down to the Download section to find the correct file. Or simply click the link on this slide. After physically connecting to the drive, you must tell DrivesWorksEZ the method you have chosen. Click File, then select DrivesWorksEZ Properties. Keep in mind, DrivesWorksEZ Properties will not be available if you don't currently have a project open. Selecting Serial will prompt you to choose a COM port. Usually your serial port is COM port 1, but if you are using a serial to USB converter, it will most likely be something other than 1. Whatever your preferred method, open Device Manager. Go down to Ports, and determine which one you are connected to. The USB selection is self-detecting and does not require you to choose a specific port. When choosing Ethernet, you must provide the IP address of the option card. Now that you have set up communication between your PC and the drive, you must enable DrivesWorksEZ. You can enable it in one of the following two ways. By setting parameter A107 equal to 1, the DrivesWorksEZ program will always be active. If you prefer to enable and disable the DrivesWorksEZ programming manually, set parameter A1000 equal to 2 and set any digital input parameter equal to 9F. Now that I have created my project, I need to download it to the drive. First, I have to set up my communication. I'll choose USB. Next, connect to the drive. Then I have to compile my project to make sure there are no errors. Then, I download to the drive. Now I can monitor the program. This shows the instantaneous values of all the inputs and outputs of all my function blocks. So my potentiometer is used to trim my speed reference anywhere between 70% and 90% of my max speed. Now I can go to my Run command page and see the status of all of my digital inputs. When all three inputs are closed, the drive receives its run command. Now I will make a programming change. Let's say I want to set upper and lower limits for my frequency reference, no matter what is entered into the keypad. So I will go to my Numeric Function tab and choose the limit block. To delete this connection, I simply select it and then press the delete key. Now I have to set my limits. I'll choose the block and go into the Properties window. I will set my upper limit at 90% of max speed and my lower limit at 40% of max speed. After a programming change, recompile, download the updated program to the drive, and continue monitoring. I have changed my main reference in the keypad to 20%, but due to the limiting function block, my frequency reference to the drive is 40%. DrivesWorksEZ has a comprehensive help file. It includes complete descriptions of each function block, as well as connection type and associated parameters. Search capability and an index help the user find the information they need quickly. If the help file doesn't answer all of your questions, Yaskawa technical support is available. We will help you understand how the function blocks work and connect to each other. We can also solve any issues you may have connecting to the drive. However, the responsibility of writing the program and modifying it to fit the application falls on the user. When you receive the PC tool, feel free to distribute it to your customers or others in your company, but support will only be given to those certified in the training class. All others will be referred to the certified person. This concludes my presentation of DrivesWorksEZ for Yaskawa's A1000 and V1000 drives. Thank you for viewing this e-learning module. I hope that the information presented was informative and helpful. If you would like additional training, please contact us through any of the methods shown on this slide. Thanks again, and have a great day.